This is Bill Korak. We're coming to you from a studio in Florida, and we are interviewing Dave Gaubatz in rural Virginia. Dave is actually in his car getting reception, which is pretty difficult. So we're interviewing Dave long distance. Dave is also author of the book Muslim Mafia. And recently, Dave and a group of his people infiltrated the Council on American Islamic Relations, also known as CAIR. CAIR has an image to America as being a information service about Islam, but it's much more than that. CAIR is connected to Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. And we're going to ask Dave exactly why he made this decision to find out more about CAIR and how he did it. So Dave, welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you very much.
And my first question is, what motivated you to want to infiltrate CAIR?
Well, it started many, many years ago. We didn't actually infiltrate CAIR until 2007. 2008, but as you had mentioned, I was a federal agent for 15 and a half years with the Office of Special Investigations, and this led me to various assignments. Right before September 11th, 2001, I had retired from active duty after 20 years in the Air Force. And then when the tensions were starting to get very high in the Middle East, I came back right before September 11th to the federal government, this time as a U.S. civilian federal agent with OSI. And OSI has the highest clearances that the government provides. After September 11th, our government figured out, and we figured out as agents, that we weren't prepared to fight Islamic-based terrorism. We had very few Arabic linguists, and so I was asked to go to the State Department for 1 year for Arabic language studies, which I did. And then a couple months before the war started in Iraq, I was asked to go to Saudi Arabia, and this was in early 2003, about January 2003. And when the war kicked off in 2003 in March, I was asked to go into Iraq. And I had primary duties of looking for the weapons of mass destruction and to look for the top 55 supporters under Saddam Hussein, in which we did that. And I had the opportunity while in Iraq to interview many POWs, Iraqi POWs. And the one thing that I kept asking over and over from the POWs is, what is going to be the next type of attack inside America? Oh, we're going to have physical attacks, or they're going to go out at us economically. What were they going to be doing? And over again, we were told, and I was told, that they are going to attack the hearts of the American people. And I wanted that clarified. I asked the POWs, various POWs, what did that mean? They replied they were going to attack the children of the Americans because the children are the hearts of America.
How did that lead you to CAIR?
I've been a federal agent for many years, 20 plus years on active duty, and there was no way I realized that I could determine inside America what type of attacks were going to be happening because our hands had handcuffs on them. We had so much political red tape while working for the government that we could not investigate to determine the true threats in America. And I wanted to find out. So when I came back in late 2003 from Iraq, that is when I started training courses for law enforcement. I started in 2003 and 4, looking into different organizations such as ISNA, CAIR, MSA, MAS, and a half dozen other acronyms. My work started leading me to the Center for Security Policy with Frank Gaffney, a great organization. Frank Gaffney and David Urashami of CSP approached me and asked if I would put a team together in 2007 to go inside CAIR National, the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Why CAIR particularly?
Well, when you've got a half dozen plus major organizations, but they all, and the information that I've had for years is they're all belong to the Muslim Brotherhood. Why CAIR? It's because CAIR is the organization, the Center for Security Policy, had conducted extensive research. I had conducted extensive research in CAIR because during my training classes with law enforcement, I had invited CAIR National to my training classes. And when they were at my classes, I caught them several times in deceitful actions. And so that is why I chose CAIR. They were based out of Washington, D.C. They already had a long history of ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. And based with the financial backing of CSP, I was able to put a team of 5 people undercover inside CAIR National for approximately 6 months.
And tell me a little bit about the team.
Well, the team, I handpicked the 5 researchers, and I did not want prior law enforcement. I did not want people who already thought they knew a lot about Islam, Islam-based terrorist groups. I wanted people who were eager, charisma, and wanted to learn. There's a difference when you put an undercover team up against gangs, for instance, versus a terrorist organization. I wanted people to go inside, give that organization 100%, like they did with CAIR, and to sit back and let CAIR do the talking and gather the information that way.
Was your team Muslim Americans? Were they Middle Eastern by background? Give me a little quick background on the teams.
Yeah, no, my team had 4 Caucasians, 1 African American, and 3 females, 2 males, and they had absolutely no knowledge of Islam or Islamic-based terrorist organizations. I trained them for what they needed to know, which was Sharia law.
So how could people like that fit into CAIR? Why would CAIR trust them and share with them some of these secrets?
Because they went into CAIR with the motivation to learn Islam. They went in as new members of the Islamic faith, and they wanted to contribute, to volunteer, to help the organization. And they did not go in immediately just asking a lot of questions. They went in and gave CAIR 100%. They were Sharia compliant. That was the key. And so CAIR leadership began to trust my researchers.
So they studied Sharia law for some period of time.
Yes, I trained them in Sharia law.
And what were the key findings?
Well, as we had thought beforehand, CAIR, we uncovered ties to Hamas, the Al-Qaeda, and the Taliban. We had uncovered over 12,000 documents inside CAIR, which CAIR was in the process of shredding criminal evidence about their wrongdoings. CAIR was shredding. We were able to stop that. We obtained the 12,000 documents. We eventually turned these over to the court and to the FBI, and it shows their strong ties financially to terrorist organizations such as Al-Qaeda and Hamas, and the money that they get from Saudi Arabia, the Saudi government, and numerous politicians that have very close ties with CAIR.
What are their real plans with our schools?
Well, that was the question that I wanted answered back in 2003. The primary goal, their objective, is to form an Islamic Ummah nation worldwide under Sharia law. That is the ultimate goal. How do they do that? They do it by reaching for the hearts and the minds of our children. They put propaganda material inside public schools, inside the libraries, inside universities, in order to reach the children, to essentially to brainwash them into believing that Islam and Sharia law is what they should desire themselves.
When people protest having CAIR in school, we often hear from CAIR that these people are Islamophobic. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that's a term that came from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia pumped in almost $1 million into George Washington University just for the purpose of anyone who says anything negative about Islam, you're automatically an Islamophobe, a bigot, a racist. Those are terms. It's just a mechanism that they use. People should not be alarmed in that. That is a tool they use to achieve their goal.
In 2008, there was a Holy Land Foundation trial in Texas, but under this current Obama administration, it seems like those investigations have stalled, and that in fact members of the Muslim Brotherhood have been invited inside the administration. How do you explain that?
Well, that's no surprise to me. In 2008, right before the elections, when you had John McCain and Mr. Obama for the elections of 2008, you had the Obama administration on a regular basis going to CAIR National. And we have that documented. That is in the documents that the courts currently have.
Has CAIR or any of the other organizations donated to Obama or the Democrats?
Yes, in our documentation, we had several thousand CAIR members who have donated to Mr. Obama's campaign.
So, where are we with CAIR right now in America?
CAIR is very strong. CAIR has the backing of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia owns a good portion of even Fox News. So they've taken over a lot of our media outlets. Even Fox News will talk about Islamic terrorism, but they won't talk any negative type impact against Saudi Arabia. So from my standpoint, we are losing the war on terrorism because we have a weak administration and we have a very weak media.
Now, CAIR's other organization that they're linked to, Hamas, is considered a terror organization. Do you feel that CAIR should be declared a terrorist organization?
CAIR should have been declared a terrorist organization years ago.
Talk to us just for a minute about your talk that you're going to be giving for Citizens for National Security on November 18th in Boca Raton, Florida.
Yes, I'm bringing one of my undercover researchers that was inside CAIR National. It's Charity. She's going to be attending with me. We're going to talk about the 6 months inside CAIR National and about the documents that were obtained that are currently in the hands of the court.
I believe that if people want more information, they can go to www.cfns.us. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Great. Well, Dave, thank you so much for the work you're doing, and thanks for this interview, and the best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.